So how did one strike plunge the entire Middle East into war? Let's break down what happened.
It all kicked off in late February 2026, when a huge military operation was launched against Iran.
So how did things spiral so fast? Well, it's the story of a firestorm lit by a single spark.
The mission was called Operation Epic Fury. It was a plan that had been years in the making. Its main target, the regime's top brass. The strike successfully took out the government in Tehran.
But these attacks didn't happen in a vacuum. Iran was already a nation on the absolute edge.
And the reaction inside the country? It was split wide open, revealing deep opposition to the regime. You actually had some Iranians celebrating in the streets, seeing the attacks as a kind of liberation. And get this, people were dancing to YMCA of all things. It became a bizarre kind of anthem. But at the same time, the regime's security forces responded with brutal, lethal force against protesters.
The protesters were smart though. They used masks, phones, and even fireworks to resist the crackdown.
You see, for so many people, the risk of speaking out was finally less than the risk of staying silent.
Of course, Tehran hit back hard, and not just at Israel. The entire Persian Gulf was engulfed.
For the very first time, missiles rained down on major hubs like Doha, Dubai, and Riyadh. The sheer scale of this attack was just staggering. It pulled the Gulf states into a war they wanted no part of.
Suddenly, their whole strategy of staying neutral was shattered. The war was literally on their doorstep.
Then Iran played its biggest economic card, shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. Shipping just stopped.
The economic shockwave was immediate. Oil prices surged more than 15% in just a few days.
And it wasn't just a physical blockade. The maritime insurance market for the Gulf completely collapsed.
So the US government had to step in, underwriting the insurance and prepping the Navy for escort duty.
Meanwhile, back in Washington, the story for why this was all happening, it kept changing.
Was it preemption, disarmament, maybe even regime change? The official story was all over the place.
And Congress was not having it. Lawmakers from both parties began to question if the war was even legal.
But when a vote came up in the House to limit the president's authority, it ultimately failed.
Which leaves a huge question. With its leaders gone and its future uncertain, what comes next for Iran?